Welcome back to another episode of the Even Your Dynasty Show. It's Tuesday, September 10th, which means it's time for your weekly minor league update for the Giants farm system. We only have maybe 2 or 3 more of these videos left as the high A season has wrapped up their season. Low A San Jose has wrapped up their regular season. They're off to their playoff series versus Modesto. The Richmond Flying Squirrels and Sacramento River Cats are both going to wrap up their regular seasons this week. And then Sacramento looks to be off to a potential playoff series. Richmond has already been eliminated from the playoffs in the Eastern League, so their season will be over after Sunday. So Bryce Eldridge, and among others, is only going to get one more week of play. So we're going to go ahead and jump in. Then after all this, we will in a couple weeks we will do like a full season update on these players, just kind of like give you guys the full season numbers, which I don't really do on these. I usually just break down how they played in the most recent week. Sometimes I will comment on their full season stats, but it's usually just the weekly stuff. So we will do a full season breakdown. Maybe I'll get like Ricky or someone to do that with me because he's got a lot of knowledge when it comes to the Giants farm system. But without further ado, we will get this going. But first, if you do enjoy the content, I do appreciate everyone's support, but do please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Usually each episode, I notice about 60 to 70% of the watch time is by people that aren't subscribed. So if you could hit that subscribe button, that does help a ton for channel growth, the algorithms, and all that stuff. So appreciate you guys. Please do that if you haven't already. But we're going to go ahead and kick it off with the Sacramento River Cats. They went 3-3 versus Salt Lake City. They are now 74-64 on the season. A lot less interesting club than they were even just a few weeks ago and throughout most of the season, as a lot of the guys that were there for much of the season are now in San Francisco. Kind of coincides with the Giants being a much more watchable team recently, with a lot of the young kids contributing and doing a lot of good things on the big league club. Well, these were the guys that were down in Sacramento for a good chunk of the year. So Sacramento has been a really fun team to watch. Fortunately, not as much, but they do still have a lot of pitching, especially at that level, and a couple position players to keep your eye out. Now, they were playing in Salt Lake City this week, so the pitchers struggled. It is a very difficult place to pitch. It's at elevation, not a huge park. It's tough. So it's kind of like pitching in Coors Field. So you kind of have to take it for what it's worth. But number 3 prospect Carson Whisenhunt threw 5 1/3 innings, gave up 4 earned runs, 7 hits, a walk, 3 strikeouts. The only one walk is encouraging. However, he did get knocked around a little bit. Again, it's at elevation. It's a little bit difficult. But he has struggled to put hitters away. So this is kind of a trend with him, and he's especially struggled on the road. So, that trend continued with this game. Number 13 prospect Trevor McDonald, 4 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, 4 hits, 3 walks, and a strikeout. I don't think we're going to see him up in the major league club this season unless Mason Black just is unplayable down the stretch. Though with Kyle Harrison being put pretty much on the season-ending IL, I do give it an outside shot that we might see either Whisenhunt or McDonald before the season ends. Number 16 prospect Wade Meckler. He's continuing to swing the bat really well. 10 for 26, 2 home runs, a double, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. Now the thing is you see the home runs he hits. I don't know how well his power would honestly play in Oracle Park. Not a lot of high exit velocities. Kind of a lot of balls that just kind of squeak over the fences in AAA or don't clear them by a ton. And a lot of these balls look like they'd probably end up being outs in Oracle. Now, he does hit a lot of line drives. He is a really good hitter. He's just a good pure hitter. And that could play in Oracle. I just don't expect the power to play very much. But he's got enough pop to get it into the gap. He's got enough pop, to play it line to line. So he could potentially hit a lot of doubles and triples, especially in Oracle with his speed. That said, defensively, he's still a liability. And to me, he's basically unplayable in the outfield. I really think this team needs to look at moving him to second base going into next season. I'm not sure they will. This is just my opinion. And they don't, they seem to view him as an outfielder for whatever reason. So, but he is swinging the bat well. So credit where it's due. Number 24 prospect Carson Seymour, 4 1/3 innings pitched, 3 earned runs, 7 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. Um, he's, again, difficult place to pitch. I mean, I don't want to just make the excuse for everybody, but almost all the pitchers struggled this week in Salt Lake City, and they have the last time they went to Salt Lake City. It's a tough place to pitch. Blake Sable went 3 for 12 with a home run, a double, and 6 strikeouts. He's been swinging the bat better of late, but the strikeouts are still concerning. He's improved his defense a little bit. It's tough because I don't view him as a player that really is, deserving of being on the big league club. But they've also had other guys that are probably less deserving than Sable on the big league club, and it's just a difficult situation, especially with him being a left-handed hitter. It would take it bats away from Bailey against righties, which, as much as Bailey has struggled, his better side is clearly hitting from the left against righties than it is on the right side where he has virtually no power. So I don't really want, this club needs a backup catcher for Bailey that can take the load off of him, but that guy needs to really be a right-handed hitter, not a lefty. So that's where Sable's fit on this club is very interesting. I think if you put him if they stuck with him at first, he could end up being a decently valuable player in kind of a reserve role, playing some first base and stuff. But I don't see it right now. He's really struggling in a very hitter-friendly environment. And, the same could be said for guys like Luciano and Matos, for example, but those guys were actually outperforming Sable even. So it's a tough spot that he's in. Hunter Bishop, he's finishing the season on a pretty high note. Last couple of weeks have been really good. This week, 9 for 24 with 1 strikeout and 1 stolen base. He had no walks, no extra base hits. So the lack of power was kind of interesting this week, but I will take it out of a guy like him where he gets a bunch of hits and he doesn't strike out. Like, these are, baby steps for a guy like him, for example, where he needs to show better contact skills and better bat to ball skills as a whole. And the power he's already shown a good amount this year, but he needs to. It's kind of like last year when we saw Joey Bart take steps where he wasn't hitting for any power. The average, the offensive numbers weren't really showing up yet, but you noticed he was, hitting a lot of singles and he was not striking out much. He'd cut that strikeout rate way down. That's what we need to see out of Bishop, because the natural power is there, and it's not going to just disappear. So if they can just get the bat on the ball and get the barrel on the ball more frequently, eventually good things are going to happen. And this season, Joey Bart broke out, and I could see a similar thing happening with Bishop. And same thing with a guy like McRae, if they just start getting the barrel on the ball more frequently, and the power will play. Just my 2 cents. David VR, 10 for 22, a home run, 4 doubles, 4 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Good solid week out of him. I do ultimately think he's going to end up on another club either in the offseason or around spring training next season, because the Giants are probably going to want to clear the 40-man spot, and he is on his last option season. So, we'll kind of see where that goes. That's just where I'm anticipating is he's probably going to get Joey Bart this next spring training. Moving on over to Richmond, Flying Squirrels. They went 5-1 versus Akron, 62-70 on the season. Ever since Bryce Eldridge has, moved over there, they have been winning a lot. So good for them. They're finishing the season on a high note, hopefully. Hopefully Eldridge just keeps doing what he's doing. But number one prospect, Bryce Eldridge, 6 for 23, a home run, a double, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts. He's also hit a bunch of balls hard. He definitely does not look overmatched in the slightest in Double-A. This has been really awesome that he got this promotion that he, definitely earned. It was a very well-deserved promotion to Double-A. And it's good to see him show up, and he's not just going 2 for 26 with a bunch of strikeouts or anything like that. He's actually showing up and he's performing. He's contributing to that team there. He's helping them finish strong. He's hitting a bunch of balls hard, even if they go at people. I've seen him hit a couple scorched ground outs or line outs, or, lining out to center field. He's hit a few balls to the deep parts of the yard. He's hitting the ball hard. And, if you consistently hit the ball hard and you're not striking out a ton, good things are going to happen eventually. And I think he's gonna really do a great job in AA. Now there is some interesting things. Cameron, friend of the show, who's been on with me before, he kind of brought up, with the turf being put into Sacramento, it might be worth it to have him just skip that level altogether and play more of the year in AA next season. And then when he's ready, just jump up to the majors because, number one, the heat in Sacramento is going to be insane on that turf field. And number two, just increased risk of injuries and things like that when you're playing on that. You can end up with like turf toe and things like that. So just kind of a food for thought thing. I thought that was interesting and a good take that it might be worth it. Double A is generally a more difficult environment to hit. It's more pitcher friendly in almost every aspect. You have the automated, well, not automated balls and strikes. You have the challenge system in AAA, so it's generally a smaller strike zone as a whole. And smaller parks, more hitter friendly parks. He very well might be a guy that can make the jump from AA to the majors. A lot of guys have done it, especially bigger prospects. So I'm not necessarily for or against it. I would understand it if they did go that route, but it was just kind of an interesting thing to, think about. Number 15 prospect Diego Velasquez, 4 for 17, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. On the whole, though, he's hitting almost 300 in AA since his promotion. And keep in mind, he's only 20 years old. He's going to turn 21 on October 1st. So this is a younger player doing really well in the Eastern League as a whole. His defense is really good. Not a huge power guy, as I've said in the past, but has some nice speed, nice glove, nice hit tool as a whole. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to be in AAA at some point next season. And then, we're looking at a 21-year-old knocking on the door. So that's pretty cool as well, even though he's not as highly touted as some of these other guys. Number 19 prospect Jack Choate, 4 innings pitched and earned run, 5 hits, 3 walks, and 6 strikeouts. Good bounce back outing out of him. He struggled for a couple outings there in AA, and this is a good one to get, back on the right track. Hopefully he can finish strong on his last outing of the season this week. Jairo Pomares only went 1 for 7 with 2 strikeouts. He would play like a game, miss a bunch of games, play a game or two, miss a bunch of games. So I'm not sure he's battling. It seems that he's battling some kind of injury. I don't know what it is. They haven't, as I've said in the past, the minor league season or minor league as a whole is pretty poor about, updating injuries and things like that. So I'm not sure what, but it just seems that he's battling something. Victor Bericoto, though, is also finishing the season strong in AA, 8 for 22, a home run, 5 doubles, 2 walks, and 8 strikeouts. Got his OPS back up to 700 finally for the first time since like April, which is good for him. He has had a rough year as a whole, but the last couple months, he seems to be playing much better if you just check his numbers in August and September. So good sign. I think they'll probably force him on up over to AAA next season. Hopefully he'll have a lot more success there. But good for him that he's at least finishing strong. And then Will Bednar had a couple good outings, and now it's kind of back to the what he had been. Now I say that, but really the issue was he pitched in 2 games, 4 innings pitched, 4 earned runs, 4 hits, a walk, 10 strikeouts. At times he looked completely unhittable. One of the outings, he threw basically all fastballs and was just blowing it by people. But he gave up 3 home runs. And, that's going to kill you, especially as a reliever. So he's going to be kind of in a make or break situation come 2025. I do believe he needs to be either added to the 40-man or he's Rule 5 eligible after this season. And he's got the stuff that a team might take him. But he's also in a spot where I don't think you protect him if you're the Giants. So it's entirely possible he's, gets picked up by another club, just given his stuff. But the command is a problem. We'll kind of see if he can develop, but it's been a rough go in a very pitcher-friendly environment for him. Moving on over to High A Eugene. They went 2-4 versus Vancouver. They finished the season 59-72, and they were eliminated from the playoffs. This was their last week. But number 2 prospect, James Tibbs III. If you look down at the beginning of the week, I want to say his average got all the way down to like 0.23. he was something insane, like 1 for 45 or something like that in high A after he hit 400 in low A and got his promotion. I heard a lot of people saying things like he was trending towards Bustville and things like that on X and different social media platforms. I couldn't help but laugh. I'm thinking this is a first round pick in this year's draft that already forced a promotion out of a level that he was hitting over 400 at. I get no one wants to see a guy going 1 for 40 something, but it happens. And luckily, he's come out of it. He finished the season on a really high note. This week, he went 9 for 26 with 2 home runs, a double, 2 walks, and 7 strikeouts. So good for James Tibbs III. Broke out of his slump. I would probably expect him to start next season in Eugene again, but good to see him at least get out of that slump he was in to finish the year. So, and the last game of the season, I think he went 3 for 4 with one of his homers. So awesome to see out of him. Number 12 prospect, Everson Arteaga, 3 for 19, 5 walks, and 6 strikeouts. Kind of a disappointing season for him as a whole as he battled thoracic outlet. Then came back, got healthy, did well in the complex league for a few games, and then went up to Eugene. He played all of last season in Eugene. I guess that assuming he's healthy, they're going to push him on up to AA next season. Number 17 prospect Trent Harris pitched in 2 games, 4 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 5 hits, a walk, 5 strikeouts. The one of the hits was a home run, so that was the only earned run he gave up. Overall, strike thrower, really good stuff. Continues to throw the ball really well. I'd expect him in AA next season, and he's a guy that could possibly reach the majors in 2025. Number 29 prospect O'Neal Perez, 1 for 11, a double, a walk, 4 strikeouts. Again, guys that are probably going to get pushed up to AA. Perez this season was probably disappointing, I think, for what he hoped and what a lot of people hoped. He's a guy that swung the bat really well, and he started off red hot, and then it just was downhill from there. He really struggled the last about 3 months of the season. Sabine Ceballos, that is a guy that you look at his numbers in the last 2 years, because he's really only been a pro for 2 years now. And he went this week, he went 8 for 25, 3 home runs, a double, 3 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Last season, he only hit 1 home run. This season, with the Braves high A team, he had only hit 3 home runs. Then he gets traded to the Giants, and in 32 games with Eugene, he hit 7 home runs, had a 913 OPS, hit 295. He absolutely crushed the ball. 7 home runs in Eugene. And 10 doubles, so 17 extra base hits in only 32 games. And these home runs were not cheap ones. This isn't a guy that's going out there hitting the ball and squeaking one over the fence. Like, he hit the scoreboard a couple times. He hit some loud home runs where the outfielders didn't even move. They just kind of turned and watched. And he's got some impressive power there that I'm not sure anybody really knew. So really good to see out of him. Hopefully, I'll give credit to Farhan on that one. It seems like he might have found a player with this, with that Jorge Soler deal. And, we'll see. It's high A. He's, I think, 22 right now. So he'll probably get pushed up to Richmond. But I'm excited to see him in the Eastern League next season. That's a bat that I really like to watch. Charlie Saccounty finished 5 for 25, a walk, and 4 strikeouts last week. Nothing really crazy there. Quinn McDaniel finished 5 for 21, a home run, a double, 5 walks, 9 strikeouts, and 5 stolen bases. Pretty much just filled up the stat sheet on that one. San Jose, moving over to San Jose, the Little Giants went 3-3 versus Fresno. They finished their regular season 74-57. As I said earlier, they do have their playoff series versus Modesto. The first game is today in San Jose. Then they'll play the game 2 in Modesto, and then on Thursday. And if necessary, there will be a game 3 in Modesto on Friday. So for those of you that want to see a lot of these young prospects and a lot of the, especially recent draft picks from this past draft, go check out the Little Giants this week as they do their playoff series. Number 7 prospect, Walker Martin, 6 for 20, 2 home runs, hit his first 2 home runs of A-ball. Triple 5 walks, 10 strikeouts. Strikeouts still continue to be a problem. Does still draw a ton of walks, and the power finally showed up a little bit. And, a few hits fell in. So he's actually hit for a decent average for a guy that strikes out about 40% of the time, which is pretty nuts. He does need to fix the strikeout rate. Like that, that's just unacceptable how high it is. But, he showed some power, showed some good things with the hit tool outside of that, where and draws a ton of walks where, there's a lot of things to like out of him as a player. It's just that strikeout rate is way too high, and that is something that's going to have to get fixed for him to be successful, long term. So I'd love to see him go play in the fall league this offseason. I feel like he's a guy that's a very strong candidate for that, and could benefit from more pro ball experience. Or he might be a guy that they're going to be looking at kind of overhauling his swing mechanics a little bit or working on some stuff with. So it'll be interesting to see the route they go. Obviously, there's development needed there, but I did like overall what I saw. It's just the hit tool that was a little alarming because he was not known as a guy with a bunch of swing and miss coming out of high school. Number 18 prospect, Jacob Bresnahan, the guy that the Giants traded for in the Alex Cobb deal with the Guardians. 4 innings pitched, an earned run, 1 hit, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. Number 20 prospect, Robert Hipwell, 2 for 20 with a home run, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. Number 26 prospect, Bo Davidson, returned from his injury, went 3 for 8 with 2 triples, a walk, and 2 strikeouts. Number 28 prospect, Josh Bostic, 4 innings pitched, 4 earned runs, 7 hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. And then Lisbel Diaz went 9 for 24, a triple, 2 doubles, 4 strikeouts, and 2 stolen bases. He's turned it around completely in A-ball. He crushed it in the complex league, moved over to A-ball, was hitting about 200, high 100s, low 200s. He was just kind of floating around the Mendoza line there for a while, was struggling, and he's starting to really swing the bat well there. I'm excited to see him. He'll probably start in San Jose next year. I could see him moving up quickly to Eugene, though. Ryan Reckley, 4 for 7, 2 strikeouts, only played in 2 games. He played on the 2nd and then I think again on the 7th, so I don't know if he had some kind of nagging injury that was bugging him. And then a couple draft picks that we haven't mentioned before on the show that were from this year's draft. Xander Darby, their 12th round pick. He went 4 for 17 with 2 home runs, 3 walks, and 9 strikeouts. And then I think no, they weren't in the same game. And then their 14th round draft pick this year, Jeremiah Jenkins. He is Ricky really likes him as a prospect, has a kind of an interesting stance, but he went 8 for 21 with a home run, a triple, 2 doubles, 2 walks, and 6 strikeouts. So good to see some of these kids play. Like I said, if you haven't, or if you check out the minor league seasons, go check out their playoff series this week. Got some exciting stuff. A lot of exciting players on that team. The lineup's got a lot of guys that are kind of, a lot of fun to watch with some nice tools. I have no clue what's going on with Dakota Jordan. He played 2 games 2 weeks ago, got injured. It seems, and hasn't played since. So we'll see what happens there if he ends up playing it all in this playoff series. Hopefully he's all right and it's nothing major, but it feels like his season's probably over. That's all I have for the minor leagues this week. As I said earlier, if you do enjoy the content, please do like and subscribe to the channel. Other than that, go Giants. Find me on NorCal Sports Network tomorrow, and we'll get our live show going either Thursday or Friday this week. I don't know which day yet, so I'll work that out with the guys. But other than that, like I said, good Giants, and catch you all next time. See you.